Hello, welcome to the Learn English Lab.
Great to be here.
Today we're diving deep into 20 really potent English phrases.
Yeah, and these aren't just, words put together randomly.
Exactly. They're expressions that have really emerged from actual situations, and they carry, well, a lot of cultural understanding.
Mm-hmm. They've got stories behind them.
Right. So our goal today is to sort of unpack these phrases. We'll explore the stories and figure out how you can weave them into your own English conversations.
We'll look at what they really mean, where they might have come from.
And importantly, when and how to use them effectively. So you get practical knowledge, something that goes beyond just, looking up a definition.
Absolutely. It's amazing how understanding that background, the origin story, can really help cement the meaning. Makes them easier to remember and use naturally.
Okay, let's kick things off then. First up, break the ice.
A classic.
Yeah. We have this story about Maria. She was a shy exchange student. This was in London back in 2018, I think. Yeah. So her very first group meeting, you can imagine, totally silent room. Everyone's looking a bit awkward.
Been there.
Right.
Yeah.
But Maria, she wanted to connect. So she kind of stood up and said something like, let's break the ice. How about we each share one fun fact about ourselves?
Bold move for someone shy.
It was. And you know what? It totally worked. Like, instantly sparked laughter, conversation.
How brilliant.
Yeah, you completely changed that stiff atmosphere into something really lively. It's just interesting how one little phrase can bridge those social gaps.
It really highlights the core meaning, doesn't it? To start a conversation, make people feel more at ease in a new or maybe tense situation. Thinking about it, it really underlines how important those first moments are for building connections. And, different cultures have different ways of doing this, right? Sometimes specific rituals or even small gifts are involved.
Oh, that's fascinating. I hadn't thought about that wider cultural context.
Yeah, it shows how universal the need is, even if the methods vary.
And the phrase itself, break the ice, it gives you such a clear picture, like ships breaking through ice to make a path.
Exactly. So you're breaking down social stiffness, those barriers.
So you'd use this at parties, work meetings, maybe even in a classroom setting.
Definitely. And you get related words like icebreaker for the activity itself or warm up the crowd.
What are some other ways, maybe if you don't want to use the exact phrase, how else could our listeners approach breaking the ice?
That's a good question. Instead of saying, let's break the ice, you could maybe start with a light, open-ended question, something about the surroundings, or a shared interest, perhaps.
Sure.
Or offering a simple compliment, or sharing a quick, relatable personal story. It's about finding that low-pressure connection point.
Makes sense.
And like you mentioned, having synonyms helps. Get the ball rolling, kick things off, gives you options. And thinking about formality is smart, too.
Right. In a really formal setting, maybe something more direct but still polite, like, shall we start with introductions rather than the idiom?
Precisely. Gauge the situation.
Okay, good point. Let's move to our next one. Bite the bullet.
Ooh, a strong one.
Yeah. We have a story about Aisha. She was a single mother in Chicago. This was during the pandemic in 2020.
Tough time.
Very. Her small business was really struggling, and she had this incredibly hard choice. Relocate to a city that was more affordable.
Wow. Big decision.
Huge. And she was understandably worried, but she eventually decided, I just have to bite the bullet and move for my family's future.
That takes courage.
It really does. And it was difficult. But the move actually led to new opportunities, brought them stability. It really shows the courage wrapped up in that phrase.
Absolutely. What's powerful about Bite the Bullet is how it captures that moment of facing something really unpleasant, but doing it with bravery, with resolve, and that historical link. Soldiers literally biting a lead bullet during surgery without anesthesia. It really drives home the pain and the fortitude involved.
Gosh, yeah. Grim image, but effective.
It's about accepting something difficult but necessary. Makes you think about all those historical moments where people just had to bite the bullet.
For survival, for progress.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you might use this talking about big personal choices, professional challenges, maybe even health decisions.
Exactly. Similar phrases might be face the music or take the plunge.
When would using bite the bullet be particularly effective, say, in telling a story?
Well, I think it adds real weight to narratives about overcoming obstacles. It signals that crucial turning point where someone accepts hardship for a greater good.
Right.
But you have to remember its serious tone. It wouldn't really fit in a light, funny story.
No, definitely not.
And you can add nuance with adverbs like she finally bit the bullet or reluctantly bit the bullet.
Good tip. And being sensitive is key too, right? If the situation is genuinely traumatic, maybe a different phrase is better.
Absolutely. Choose your words carefully in those contexts. Empathy first.
Understood. Okay, third phrase. The ball is in your court.
Ah, another common one, especially in certain settings.
All right, our story is about Raj, a software developer in Bangalore in 2023. He was negotiating a job offer.
Okay, familiar scenario.
Yeah, so after some back and forth, the recruiter basically said, look, we've put forward our best offer. The ball is in your court now.
Clear signal.
Very. So Raj thought it over carefully, took his time, and he did accept. Led to a great career move for him. It's just a very clear way to say, okay, it's your turn to act.
The image is super clear, isn't it? Like you said, tennis. It means it's someone's turn to take action, make the decision. The responsibility or the opportunity rests with them at that moment. It's interesting how many phrases come from sports and games.
It really is. So you'll hear this in negotiations, like Raj's story, maybe in relationships or team projects too.
Anywhere there's a back and forth needed.
Right. Related expressions are your move or it's up to you. But how can you use this phrase without sounding maybe too demanding or abrupt?
Yeah, that's important. Tone matters. You could soften it. Say something like, we've provided all the details, so the ball's now in your court to decide whenever you're ready.
Adding that politeness frame.
Exactly. Or tacking on, please let me know your thoughts, can help. And knowing alternatives like, it's your call or over to you gives you flexibility.
Very useful, especially in business contexts.
Definitely a staple in business English.
Okay, number 4. Burn the midnight oil.
I think many students will recognize this one.
I bet. We hear about Priya, a medical student in Mumbai around 2019. Her final exams were just 2 weeks away, and she realized, she was falling behind.
Stressful.
Totally. So she decided she had to burn the midnight oil every single night, staying up way past midnight, surrounded by books, coffee, just deep diving into complex subjects.
The classic student image.
Right. Her roommate was worried, but Priya felt she had to do it. The exams were critical. And thankfully, all that intense effort paid off. Really captures that feeling of intense late-night work.
It really does. Burn the midnight oil so vividly describes working or studying very late, often sacrificing sleep. And the history of it, before electricity, relying on actual oil lamps after dark. It adds this sense of deep commitment, almost old-fashioned hard work.
Yeah, you really appreciate the dedication.
Makes you think about how people managed before good lighting.
Definitely. So you hear this in academia, professionally, maybe even creative field when people are on a deadline.
For sure. Similar ideas are in pull an all-nighter or work around the clock.
And more informally, people might say they're grinding or hustling.
Right.
Is there a cultural aspect to how this phrase is viewed? Like, is it always seen as positive?
That's a really interesting question. In some cultures, consistently working late is almost like a badge of honor. Shows dedication, commitment.
Right.
But in other places, it might actually be seen negatively, like maybe it indicates poor time management or inefficiency. Why can't they get it done during normal hours?
Ah, okay. So context and cultural norms matter a lot.
They really do. The tone when you use it usually implies significant effort, though.
Got it. Okay, shifting gears a bit. Phrase 5. Spill the beans.
Ah, fun one. Usually involves a secret.
It does. Our story is from Sydney, 2022. Liam was planning a surprise birthday party for his friend Emma.
Okay.
He told his sister, Sophie, about it in confidence, but, Sophie just couldn't keep it in.
Oh, no.
Yeah, during just a casual chat, she accidentally mentioned Liam was throwing this big party. Emma overheard and just laughed, saying, Sophie, you spilled the beans. Totally. Surprise ruined, but apparently the party was still great. It's just a funny, informal way to talk about letting a secret out.
It's a fantastic idiom for that. Really colorful, captures revealing a secret, often, like you said, accidentally or maybe carelessly.
Yeah.
And the origin story, though debated, possibly linked to ancient Greek voting with beans. It adds a cool historical layer.
How everyday things become metaphors, right?
Exactly.
So you mainly hear this in relaxed social settings, maybe the workplace gossip or with family.
Informal contexts, mostly.
Similar phrases are, let the cat out of the bag, which we'll get to, and give the game away. Or you might say someone blurted out the secret or let it slip. Is there a big difference between spill the beans and let the cat out of the bag? They seem pretty similar.
They are very similar and often used interchangeably. Maybe spill the beans feels slightly more accidental or casual, whereas letting the cat out of the bag could sometimes imply a slightly bigger, more impactful secret getting out, but honestly in everyday use. pretty much the same.
Okay, good to know. Number 6 has a bit of a, well, darker tone, but it's still super common. Kick the bucket.
Yes, the informal way to talk about the end.
Right. We have a story about Mr. Thompson in Texas, 2021. He was this 82-year-old community figure who passed away.
Okay.
At his memorial, his grandson shared a story. Mr. Thompson apparently always joked, "When I kick the bucket, just make sure my garden keeps blooming."
That's lovely in a way.
It was kind of bittersweet. The community, laughing and crying, later made a memorial garden for him. But it shows how the phrase is used informally, even humorously, for death.
It's definitely memorable. As an informal euphemism for dying, it often does have that humorous or at least lighthearted feel.
Yeah.
The origin is unclear, maybe linked to methods of hanging animals or people standing on buckets. It's a bit grim historically.
Right.
But now it's used to soften a difficult topic in casual chat. Language helping us cope, maybe?
That makes sense. So you hear it in casual conversation, maybe telling stories about someone's life or in jokes, cultural references.
Related terms include pass away, which is more formal, bite the dust, more informal. And then you have literary ones like croak or shuffle off this mortal coil.
So when should you definitely not use kick the bucket?
Oh, crucial point for learners. Because it's so informal and can sound flippant, you absolutely must avoid it in formal settings or when talking to someone grieving or someone you don't know well.
Right, it could be really offensive.
Hugely. Stick to respectful terms like passed away or departed in sensitive situations. Know your audience.
Good advice. Okay, next up, under the weather.
Ah, a very useful and polite one.
Yes. Our story features Elena, a teacher in Madrid, just this year, 2024. She woke up feeling not quite right on the day of a big family get-together.
Oh, bad timing.
Right. She wanted to go, but she told her sister, "I'm feeling a little under the weather, so I might rest for a bit first."
Nice. Gentle way to put it.
Exactly. Her sister brought her soup, nice sister. And by evening, Elena felt okay enough to join them. It's just a mild way of saying you're not feeling 100%.
It's a wonderfully gentle phrase for feeling slightly ill or just not at your best. And that origin, the maritime link.
Oh, yeah.
6 sailors going below deck, literally under the weather on deck to get away from the harsh conditions. It gives it this calm image.
I like that. Very tranquil.
It's a very polite way to signal you're unwell without going into detail.
Definitely a go-to for canceling social plans, taking a sick day from work, just everyday chats.
Absolutely. Related terms are out of sorts or feeling a bit off, synonyms like unwell or poorly.
Are there cultural differences in how people talk about feeling, just slightly ill? That's interesting.
Yes, I think so. In some cultures, people might be more open about describing symptoms. But in many English-speaking cultures, there's often this tendency to downplay minor illnesses.
Right, you don't want to make a fuss.
Exactly. And under the weather fits perfectly with that kind of understatement. Polite and not overly dramatic.
Makes sense. Okay, number 8. Bark up the wrong tree.
Another very visual one.
It is. The story involves Carlos, a sales manager in Mexico City. Last year, he was pitching a big software deal.
Okay.
But he made an assumption. He thought the person he was talking to was the main decision maker. So he gives this long presentation.
Oh, dear.
And at the end, the client says, basically, "You're barking up the wrong tree. I'm not the one who decides this." Very. Carlos was a bit embarrassed, but he recovered quickly, asked for the right contact, and actually ended up getting the deal later. But it clearly shows that meaning. You're mistaken in your approach or assumption.
It's such a descriptive idiom for that, making a mistake about who someone is or what something is about. That image of hunting dogs barking excitedly at a tree where the quarry isn't, it's perfect.
Yeah, very memorable. Highlights the need for accurate info.
For sure.
So you hear this in business, like Carlos's story, but also social misunderstandings, or even just trying to solve a problem the wrong way.
Anywhere you're misdirecting your efforts.
Right. Related phrases are miss the mark or get it wrong. Synonyms like misjudge or be mistaken. How can you tell someone they're barking up the wrong tree? Politely.
Yeah, directness can be tricky here, especially professionally. Instead of bluntly saying it, you could try something softer.
Right.
Maybe, perhaps there's been a slight misunderstanding about who handles that, or actually I think the person you need for that information might be in a different department.
Gently redirecting them.
Exactly. Soften the correction, especially important in cultures that prefer more indirect communication.
Good tip. Okay, number 9 is another secret revealing one. Let the cat out of the bag.
Back to the secrets.
Yeah, Story features Sarah in Toronto, 2022. She was super excited about getting a promotion at work,
Nice.
but it wasn't official yet. Her colleague, Tom, though, during a team lunch, he accidentally let the cat out of the bag by congratulating her before the formal announcement.
Whoops. Spilled the beans again. Different phrase.
Exactly. Sarah apparently took it well, just acknowledged the secret was out, but she was still happy. Another way a secret gets revealed.
And again, similar to spill the beans, it's about unintentionally disclosing something hidden. That possible origin story. The market scam.
With the cat swap for a piglet in a bag.
Right. Whether it's true or not, it adds this colorful, maybe slightly mischievous background. Shows how language can spring from unexpected places.
It really does. So, again, casual settings, workplace chat, family.
Formal use, generally.
And similar phrases. Spill the beans, give the game away. You might also say someone blurted it out or disclosed it. You mentioned the nuance earlier, maybe cat out of the bag for slightly bigger secrets.
Potentially, yes. It can feel a little more significant than spilling beans, but honestly, the overlap is huge. Most times, it's just personal preference which one you choose.
Okay, good clarification. 10th phrase, halfway through. Hit the nail on the head.
Ah, a very positive and satisfying one.
It is. Story from a school workshop in Nairobi, 2023. A teacher, Amina, was explaining a really tricky math concept.
Right.
After her explanation, which was apparently super clear, a student just burst out, "Miss, you hit the nail on the head." Suddenly it made sense to everyone.
That's the best feeling for a teacher, surely.
Absolutely. It just means getting something exactly right, describing something perfectly, or doing something perfectly.
That carpentry origin hitting the small head of the nail precisely really emphasizes that accuracy and directness. So satisfying when a complex idea is explained just right.
Definitely. So education, work discussions, everyday conversations.
Yeah.
You hear it a lot.
Related terms are spot on, right on the money.
Or just nailed it. Or you got it right.
Oh, exactly.
What's the best tone when you tell someone they've hit the nail on the head?
Well, it's usually a compliment, right? So an enthusiastic, positive tone works best. It's a great way to validate someone's point or their solution.
Makes them feel good.
Yeah. Maybe in a very formal setting, you might use slightly more reserved language, but the sentiment is still positive acknowledgement.
Got it. Okay, number 11. A dime a dozen.
This one often carries a bit of a negative connotation.
It can, yeah. The story is about Juan in Miami, 2024, at a career fair. He noticed loads of candidates had very similar basic tech skills.
Common situation.
Right. And a recruiter actually told him that those basic coding skills were, quote, a dime a dozen. Yeah. But it prompted Juan to really focus on his unique project management experience instead, which helped him land an interview. So the phrase means something is very common, easily found, and therefore maybe not very valuable or special.
It's a very American idiom, that one. A dime a dozen comes from when you could buy lots of something a dozen for a very cheap price, like a dime. Clearly illustrates that idea of abundance reducing value.
Right, supply and demand in phrase form.
Pretty much.
So you hear it discussing the job market, like Juan's story, maybe shopping for generic items, or just generally downplaying how unique something is.
Yeah. Related phrases are two a penny, more British maybe, or common as dirt. Synonyms like plentiful, ubiquitous, run-of-the-mill.
When should you be careful using this one? You said it can sound negative.
Definitely. Because it implies low value, you need to be careful. You wouldn't want to say someone's hard work or their creative ideas are a dime a dozen. That would be really dismissive, belittling.
Right, insulting even.
Exactly. It's generally safer to use it for things, objects, or maybe very generic skills that truly are widely available, rather than people's specific efforts or unique qualities.
Good distinction. Okay, number 12. Cut to the chase.
For when you want to get straight to the point.
Precisely. Story from London, maybe 2025 in the future here.
Yeah.
During a team meeting, the manager, Claire, sees the team getting bogged down in irrelevant details.
Happens all the time.
Right. So she jumps in and says, okay, everyone, let's cut to the chase. What's our actual next step? And it worked. Got them refocused. Finished the meeting efficiently. It means get to the main point, skip the preamble.
Very direct, very action-oriented, get to the essential part quickly, no fluff. And the origin is fun from early movies.
Oh, yeah.
Editors would literally cut the film to get to the exciting chase scenes more quickly. Skip the boring bits.
That's perfect. Reflects that desire for efficiency, getting to the good stuff.
Exactly.
So useful in meetings, conversations, presentations, anytime you feel things are dragging.
Definitely. Related ideas are get to the point, skip the fluff. Synonyms like be direct, come to the point.
But like bark up the wrong tree, it can sound abrupt. How do you ask someone to cut to the chase politely?
Yeah, tact is key. You could frame it around time or efficiency, like just conscious of time, could we perhaps cut to the chase on the main decision?
Oh.
Or to make sure we cover everything, maybe we could cut to the chase on this point. Phrasing it as a shared goal often softens the directness.
Makes sense. Frame it collaboratively.
Right.
Okay, number 13 is a much happier one. On cloud 9.
Ah, pure joy.
Totally. Our story is about May in Kyoto, 2023. She and her partner got engaged.
Wonderful.
And when May told her family the news, she apparently just exclaimed she was on cloud 9. Her happiness was totally infectious. It just means extremely happy, euphoric.
It's such a lovely expression for that feeling, pure elation. The origin's a bit fuzzy, maybe weather classification systems, maybe something spiritual. Yeah, theories vary. But the image itself, floating high up on a fluffy cloud, perfectly captures that feeling of absolute delight, doesn't it?
It really does. A universally understood feeling.
Definitely.
So you hear it for big personal milestones, engagements, promotions, graduations, sharing any joyful news, celebrating success.
Any peak happiness moment. Similar phrases are over the moon or in seventh heaven. Synonyms like elated, thrilled, ecstatic.
When's the best time to use it? Seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's perfect for expressing personal joy and excitement. Greet in informal settings with friends, family, colleagues you know well. The tone should just naturally reflect that happiness. Hard to say it, sadly.
True. Okay, number 14, beat around the bush.
The opposite of cut to the chase, in a way.
Exactly. Avoiding the main point. The story features Hae-jin in Seoul, 2024, during her performance review.
Okay.
Her boss kept talking about everything except the topic of her potential raise. Just avoiding it.
Awkward dance.
Right. So Hae-jin finally, quite directly, said something like, with respect, please don't beat around the bush. Am I getting the raise or not? Her directness got her a clear answer. So it means avoiding a topic, usually an unpleasant or difficult one.
Very descriptive again. Avoiding the main issue by talking about other things, that hunting origin.
Beating the bushes to scare game out indirectly.
Exactly. Instead of going straight for the target, you're hitting the surrounding area. Highlights that act of evasion, not addressing something head on.
Makes sense? So you hear it at work, like Hae-jin's story, personal conversations, negotiations, anywhere someone's being evasive.
Related terms are skirt the issue, dodge the question. Synonyms like evade, sidestep, be indirect.
How do you diplomatically tell someone they're beating around the bush? It feels confrontational.
It can be. Again, tact is important. Instead of accusing them directly, you could try, I feel like we haven't quite gotten to the core issue yet. Perhaps we could focus on X.
Okay, framing it as a need for focus.
Or, I sense there might be something specific you want to discuss directly. Gentle probing rather than accusation. Often more effective.
Good strategy. Okay, number 15, something much easier. Piece of cake.
Ah, yes. For when things are simple.
Totally. Story about Ahmed in Cairo, 2023. He'd studied hard for a math test, took it, finished really quickly.
A nice feeling.
The best. He told his friend afterwards, man, that test was a piece of cake and he got a perfect score. It just means something is very, very easy.
It's wonderfully simple, isn't it? Cheerful idiom. The comparison to how easy it is to eat cake is just straightforward and relatable, conveys effortless success.
Definitely. So school, work tasks that turn out easy, everyday things that aren't challenging.
Yeah. Related fun terms are easy peasy, a walk in the park, a breeze. Synonyms like simple, effortless, no sweat.
What's the best context for using piece of cake? Any pitfalls?
Best used in informal, positive situations when you're describing something you found easy. It has that lighthearted feel, the main pitfall. Maybe avoid saying it about a task that someone else is struggling with.
Right? Because then dismissive or like you're bragging.
Exactly. Could come across as insensitive. Best to use it for your own experiences of ease.
Got it. Number 16 is quite whimsical, when pigs fly.
The ultimate expression of impossibility.
Totally. Stories about Mia in Dublin, 2024. Her brother, apparently known for his messy room, promised he'd clean it every single day.
Likely story.
Right. Mia was very skeptical. She just laughed and said, yeah, right. That'll happen when pigs fly.
Perfect response.
Although, plot twist, apparently he actually did keep his promise for a whole week, surprising her. But the phrase itself means something is impossible or extremely unlikely.
It's a fantastic idiom for that. The image is just so absurd, pigs flapping wings, it's instantly understood and usually quite funny. Great way to express total disbelief.
Definitely. So casual debates, joking responses, expressing skepticism. Related ideas are over my dead body, not in a million years, fat chance, not a chance. Synonyms like never, impossible.
What tone works best with when pigs fly? Seems obvious, but yeah, it definitely calls for a playful, humorous, or maybe sarcastic tone. You're conveying disbelief in a lighthearted way. Great for informal banter.
Okay. Number 17, throw in the towel.
Back to a more serious tone, giving up.
Right. Story about Elena, a boxer in Manila 2023, after losing a really important match, feeling injured and just exhausted.
Tough spot for an athlete.
Yeah. She decided it was time to throw in the towel on her professional boxing career. She chose to focus on coaching instead. But the phrase signifies giving up, surrendering.
Very evocative phrase. That boxing origin, literally throwing a towel into the ring to signal defeat or concede the match, makes the meaning crystal clear. Quite dramatic. Represents that point of finality in a struggle.
Yeah. So sports, obviously, but also work situations, personal goals. Anytime someone decides to stop pursuing something really difficult.
Quitting, essentially. Related terms are call it quits, give up. Synonyms like quit, concede, surrender.
What kind of situation really warrants using throw in the towel? It sounds quite final.
It usually implies someone has faced significant challenges, put in a lot of effort, and is now making a conscious, often difficult decision to stop. It carries that sense of finality, sometimes disappointment, but sometimes it's just a pragmatic choice for their well-being.
Right, knowing when to stop.
Exactly.
Okay, number 18, caught red-handed.
Discovered in the act.
Yep. The story is about young Leo in Chicago, 2022. He was sneakily taking cookies from the cookie jar. Classic kid move.
We've all been there, maybe.
Probably. His mom walked into the kitchen right at that moment and exclaimed, "Aha! Caught you red-handed." Apparently it became a funny family moment, but it means being caught doing something wrong right when you're doing it.
Such a direct visual idiom for that. Being discovered mid-wrongdoing. And the origin.
The Scottish phrase.
Yeah, from way back, referring to someone caught literally with blood-red hands from a crime, like murder or poaching, really emphasizes the undeniable proof of guilt. Paints a very clear picture.
Wow, intense origin for sneaking cookies.
Language evolves.
True. So family situations like Leo's, maybe minor things at work, casual chat about small misdeeds.
Yeah, related terms are busted, caught in the act. Synonyms like nabbed, exposed, found out.
What's the usual tone when someone's caught red-handed?
It really depends on the severity of the crime and the relationship. It can be playful teasing, like with Leo and the cookies.
Right.
Or it could be quite serious, accusatory, in situations with real consequences. The phrase itself carries that strong implication of clear, undeniable guilt, though.
Got it. Okay, penultimate phrase, number 19. Through thick and thin.
A lovely one about loyalty and support.
It really is. The story is about two close friends, Aisha and Noor, in Dubai, 2024. They supported each other through lots of ups and downs over the years.
True friendship.
Definitely. When Aisha suddenly lost her job, Noor was immediately there, offering help, support, everything, saying, "Don't worry, we're in this together, through thick and thin." It just signifies that unwavering support no matter what.
It's a beautiful phrase for that. Steadfast support through all difficulties, good times and bad. That possible origin, navigating forests.
Through thick undergrowth and thin, open patches.
Exactly. Vividly captures enduring all kinds of terrain, all kinds of challenges together. It's a real testament to loyalty and deep commitment.
Beautiful. So expresses deep loyalty in friendships, family bonds, maybe even team loyalty at work during tough times.
Anywhere that enduring support is shown, related ideas are stick together, be by your side, come what may, no matter what. Synonyms like loyally, steadfastly.
What emotions does this phrase usually tap into?
Oh, strong ones. Loyalty, commitment, deep care, unwavering support, reliability. It speaks to a really solid bond, a willingness to stand by someone regardless. Very comforting, very reassuring phrase.
Lovely. Okay, our final phrase, number 20. Wear your heart on your sleeve.
Expressing those emotions openly.
Yeah. Exactly. Story about Javier, a musician in Barcelona, 2023. After a really raw emotional performance, a fan came up and told him he truly wears his heart on his sleeve when he plays his music, meaning he shows his emotions very openly.
It's a wonderfully expressive idiom for that.
Yeah.
Openly displaying your feelings, not hiding them. And the origin from Shakespeare.
Othello, right.
Yes, adds that nice literary weight. It describes someone who is emotionally transparent, what they feel is clear to see.
Makes sense. So, used in personal chats, talking about art or music, relationships, describing someone who is very open emotionally.
Related terms are being an open book or emotionally transparent. Synonyms like expressive, candid, unreserved.
Is wearing your heart on your sleeve always seen as a good thing?
That's a great final question. It's often seen positively, as authentic, sincere, honest, especially in creative fields or close relationships. But it can also be seen as a vulnerability. Being too open might make you seem naive or easily hurt in some situations, particularly in maybe more competitive or professional environments. A bit more reserve might be considered, well, prudent.
So context matters again. Seen as positive in expressive cultures or situations, maybe less so in others.
Exactly. A sign of authenticity for some, maybe a lack of self-control for others, depending on the viewpoint and the situation.
Fascinating. So that's our 20 phrases. We've just done a really, I think, illuminating exploration into these powerful English expressions.
Yeah, each one with its own background, its own subtle feel.
Definitely. Think about how these might fit into your own conversations and how knowing where they come from can actually add some depth to your communication.
It really can enrich your understanding.
We really hope this deep dive has given you a much richer grasp of these common English phrases and maybe boosted your confidence just a bit in using them.
Hope it helps you sound even more natural.
Absolutely. And hey, if you found this useful, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel.
Yeah, we'll have more valuable English learning content coming your way.
Thanks for tuning in.